Hello, I'm Avery or Hazel or Kylie. You can just pick one, I don't care.
Hello, I am Lily.
And welcome to the From the Closet podcast. Today we are covering Fantasia. I would say if you'd like to avoid spoilers, but there's no
Spoilers for
story,
what?
so there's nothing to spoil. Um, so I guess just if you want to watch the movie, or I guess, there will be a link in the description below to the Just Watch page for this movie. Um, that page will have links to all the places you can rent, purchase, or stream this movie, with price comparisons for renting and purchasing. And for us here in the U.S., it's available for streaming on Disney Plus. Also, in the description, you'll find a link to our Patreon where you can vote on future episodes of this show, as well as get access to episodes before they release, as well as early access to episodes of our sister show, Off the Shelf, which is about books and is exclusive to YouTube and Patreon. Speaking of upcoming episodes, Lily, can you spin the wheel to determine what they can join us for next week? They can
Of
Y'all
course
can
I
join us
can.
later this week for The Dragon Prince Book 2 Sky.
Why?
Is it another one of
Avery?
your movies?
No, but this is a classic case of be careful what you wish for. Blade Runner 2049.
Oh my god. Still, I would rather it land on that than uh Fantasia 2000, honestly.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it's just too much Fantasia for one outing.
So yeah, you can join us next week for Blade Runner 2049, as well as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6. Uh, but with that being said, you will also find a link in the description below to Anchor.fm, which is now Spotify for podcasters. And that page will have links to every platform you can stream this podcast on, as well as links to our Instagram and Twitter, where you can be notified when we release new episodes. But with all that being said, please get out if you have not seen the movie, because we are going to start talking about it now.
Music.
Okay,
Okay, we can end it. Goodbye, guys.
yeah, there's not much to say here. A decent chunk of this movie is like classical performances that I don't know if you've probably seen classical performances of this piece a billion times. So beyond that, the only thing really unique to this movie was them showing off like new animation for the first time and showing off what they could do with it. And I mean, this is 1940s, so obviously it's not going to age that well, because
But it
newer
still looked
things are going to
pretty
come out
damn
to show
good.
off. Newer things are going to come out to show off animation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you wanted to show off animation, it should be in a shorter format than 2 hours long.
Hmm.
This is why I think a lot of the shorts that Disney releases do really well. Granted, most of the shorts are done by Pixar, but there are some that are not.
I was thinking about it, like right when we were starting, and I think I finally figured out why this movie was made. They thought, hey, wait a minute, those music snobs are not fucking in the theaters. They're not watching our movies. We
Well,
gotta do something.
there's also the aspect that World War II was happening, and people
Oh
weren't.
yeah, that too.
Yeah, it was a lot of work to put out a feature-length animated film, and while America wasn't really in the war yet, we were kind of busy making a profit off of the war.
And I mean, during World War II, that's when the Great Depression was happening.
Yeah, I mean, although the Great Depression was pretty much over by the time this movie came out. I mean,
But I mean, they were still dealing with like the
yeah,
whiplash of it.
Yeah,
when
like
it was made.
sure, people were still suffering and stuff, but for the most part, the Great Depression was over by 1939.
Actually, there was something that was in the reception. Um, Let me just start reading this. There's a few. There were also a few negative reactions that were more political in nature, especially since the film's release happened when Nazi Germany regained supreme in Europe. One review of the film written in this manner by Dorothy Thompson for the New York whatever, um, the left the theater in a condition bordering on nervous breakdown. Direct quote.
Yeah, I did see that on the Wikipedia page, and I thought that was a little bit over the top. I mean, comparing what Disney was doing with the music to the Nazis was a bit much.
I mean, there was like in the earlier paragraph, fucking I'm sorry, where was the bringing great bringing great music down to the level of jazz.
Yeah, as if jazz
They just
can't also be great.
yeah, no, they just insulted me. That insult is so loaded.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. You and I were talking about this earlier, but I feel like the classical music community has a serious problem with music snobbery. Um,
Oh yeah.
like, oh, you played one wrong note, you deserve to have your instruments taken away, you disease-ridden vermin. Any music that's
I'm
not 200 years old is garbage. You know, it's that
you
type
know,
of shit that
I,
I see all the time from classical music community.
I like classical music. I mean, to be honest, I just like symphonic music. I think that's what I should preference. Because symphonic is a genre. It's not just like 200-year-old music. But I don't know. I've always just preferred music without words. That's just my take.
I mean, okay, so for me, I've talked about how I can enjoy music like this in particular settings, and a concert is not
Hmm.
one of them. I really do not like the vibe for concerts with this type of music. I'd rather just buy a CD and listen to it on my own time. That's
Fair enough.
yeah, it's like I don't know the Zelda 25th anniversary, for instance. I wouldn't want to go to one of those concerts. I just wouldn't. They the music was fantastic from that symphony orchestra that they did. I wouldn't want to see them live because
I'll be honest. Sorry, I thought you were done.
to me, you lose the sense of community when people can't interact with the music. And I feel like
I don't know.
interaction with the music is what you get with just about any other genre. I mean, I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, you're talking to the person that had to. I guess not interact. No, actually, there was totally interacting with these types of music, to where I had to listen to a lot of symphonic pieces, and then like sometimes it was sharing, like what I felt about it. Yeah, there's a lot of listening assignments I had in band that was just listen to music, write how you felt, like write what you think the music did, what you liked about it, technicality.
Yeah, I do feel this movie. It probably I would say almost definitely had a heavy influence on music videos, but I don't think outside of animation techniques it had much of an effect on movies.
I mean, it could have had an effect on movie audience. A lot of people that go to concerts might have started going to the movies thereafter.
Maybe I can see that, but I mean I can also see that not happening because after this movie, Disney would release like Disney still couldn't do feature films. They would release shorts compilations in the theaters, and they would kind
Hmm.
of be considered standalone movies. Um, the ones I can think of that I know they did were Saludos Amigos and Melody Time. And those shorts compilations are generally regarded as some of the worst of their entire catalog.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Though I think what a lot of people think of Fantasia, they think of the Sorcerer Mickey. At least that's for me.
I did. I do have some notes that I wrote down.
Hmm.
So before we get to the Sorcerer Mickey short, I do want to talk about the first one. Because
Hmm.
that first short
Okay.
genuinely reminded me of some of those like Windows XP era. Like, I don't know if you have much experience with Windows XP and like the old Windows Media Player, and how when you played music on it, there would be like these visualizers that would like animate something to like the beat of the music. That's what the first thing reminded me of. It reminded me of those old Windows Media Player visualizers.
That was weird.
Yeah, so we're back after some technical difficulties. And I think now that we're back, people can hear my air conditioner, so that's fun.
Oh no.
Well, now it's showing silence, so I don't know. But yeah, back on the topic though, Windows Media Player visualizations.
Oh yeah. I was gonna tell you that. You know what that reminded me of? It
What?
reminds me of how the 3DS music app. Now I
I
doubt.
never experimented with that one. I do remember experimenting with DSi sound,
Hmm.
but never the 3DS one.
Yeah, I remember that like there were some things that you can do while music was playing. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's like to the sound of the beat. It was doing something with the music. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I remember as a kid really enjoying the Windows Media Player visualizations, and I wished they were still a part of Windows Media Player. There's probably a way to make it work like that, but it's more work than it's worth now.
Yeah. I mean, you probably like download like an old version of Windows Media Player.
Yeah, and on top of that, there were like more visualizations that you like visualizers that you could download too back in the day,
Huh.
but there were also a lot that were just included with Windows Media Player, and they were really cool. But yeah, that's what the first one reminded me of. And then I think the second one had an interesting piece of animation that I marked down, where it was showing snowflakes, and there were so many different designs to those snowflakes. And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, snowflakes have always been very interesting concept.
Yeah. So on to the Sorcerer Mickey one. I only wrote down one note, and it was Murderer Mickey backfires immediately. Yeah, because like he tries to go Murderer Mickey in that little short, and it literally immediately backfires on him.
so I so for this recording, I wanted to do a little bit of research into this one specifically. And for the first one, that the first fact that I have, in the history, just in the history tab of Sorcerer Mickey, during the making of Fantasia, audiences were annoyed because Mickey had nothing but good luck, unlike his friends Donald and Goofy. When audiences started to ignore Mickey, Walt Disney decided to cast him as the main character of the film Fantasia. The plan worked and Mickey became popular again.
The Sorcerer Mickey short, from what I was seeing, was originally supposed to be a feature-length film about Mickey being a sorcerer's apprentice, but Disney realized they didn't have the budget,
I mean, it's also
so
weird
they
how,
kind of crammed it into Fantasia.
like, the story artist who developed The Sorcerer's Apprentice originally suggested Dophie from the Snow White for the title role, but Disney instead giving it to Mickey.
Yeah, that's an interesting aspect to it that I didn't see when I was like looking stuff up, but I don't know, it's whatever. I feel
But
like some of these could
hmm,
could have been fine as standalone shorts, and I wouldn't have minded as much. Um, but for me, this is possibly one of the most boring movies I've watched for the podcast.
we watched Incredible Hulk.
And that's just how I feel about it. I know Lily does not feel the same way. I think we finally reached a point where we've had like actually have polar opposite opinions about a movie.
I will admit, like, no, I do find it very enjoyable. Though I'm not even sure if I find it enjoyable as a movie or just listening to the funny music.
Yeah, see,
If
for me, it's like, for one, I don't enjoy a lot of classical music. There's very few classical pieces I enjoy, and there actually is one that they used in this movie that I do enjoy. The
hmm,
problem is they used it right at the beginning. It was Bach's Toccata. And then I had to sit through about like an hour and 45 minutes of music I didn't really care for, and animation that, like, while cool, it wears off after you see like 30 minutes.
oh, and
I
there's
think
something.
that's the problem with like
Hmm,
movies where the biggest factor, and I'm not saying necessarily that music is the best factor of this movie, just in my opinion it is, but when good animation is the best factor of a movie, that wears down quickly after about 30 minutes. This is why
it's
people
like
don't regard The Good Dinosaur as a good movie, because while the animation in that movie is fantastic, it's just not a good movie. Like, the animation's all it's got going for it.
it's kind of like when video games, like, oh, look at these impressive graphics, when we've already seen the gameplay in like five other things.
5?
What, 10?
I would say more like 100.
Though I wasn't mentioning anything specific. The character known as Yensid, who never actually got a name in the Sorcerer Princess, that's just what the producers called him, is, I would honestly say, has a very interesting story throughout Disney's life. Because,
Hmm.
first of all, he was modeled after Walt Disney himself, right down to the signature facial features recognizable by the animators.
Okay.
But he also appeared in Epic Mickey, where he makes a whole world for cartoon characters that are forgotten. And in Kingdom Hearts, which he's a pretty major character in, I'll be honest. Though one of the jokes I've used to use is Yen Mid. His name spelled backwards is Disney, and also he was okay. This is just a random fact. In a random spelling writing kids game, Disney's Phonic Quest, he was also in. I only bring that up because I used to own it as a kid.
You know, some game I used to own as a kid was like Disney's Seen It. I don't think I ever fucking played it.
I absolutely never finished the Disney's Phonics Quest. It was just always too long. And then whenever I log back, it's like, oh, and I have to do everything again. There's probably some way to save, I just didn't know how.
Yeah, but I don't know. Personally, like, just personally, there was nothing really in this movie for me. After the Sorcerer Mickey short, I was bored out of my mind. I literally almost fell asleep at the end. And I don't know, it's kind of a bad sign for a movie if I'm literally clicking the screen several times just to see how much longer I have left to watch it, especially if I am hours ahead of schedule. Like, if I'm behind schedule and I'm doing that, that's not really an indication of the movie itself. It's more an indication of, do I have time to finish? No, here I
Yeah, that.
definitely knew I had time to finish.
Yeah, I sometimes do that when I'm watching. I'm sorry. Why is the Sorcerer Mickey part of the Mickey Mouse Club? Mickey would appear as Sorcerer
Because,
Mickey every Wednesday for Anything Can Happen Day. The fuck?
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Did
I just like reading Wikipedia's, or not Wikipedia, just wikis. It's like, here's this random fact that you probably had no idea ever existed.
well, I mean, wikis are kind of good for like random bits of trivia that nobody fucking knows.
Like, wikis are that one person that just chimes in with random bits of knowledge that no one asked for.
Did you know that if you trade a Machop from Generation 1 to Generation 2, it will be holding an item called the Brick Piece? The Brick Piece does absolutely nothing in game and can be sold for 25 Poké Dollars.
Yeah, that really is just you.
Yeah, like that's the epitome of random, useless trivia. And it's actually true, by the way.
Why do you know that? Just on the top of your head.
Because just because I've actually traded a Machop from Generation 1 to Generation 2, and I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out what the hell a brick piece was.
Lol. um. So another thing about Sorcerer Mickey, there was a Disney Fandy figure of it. That actually, this was the first figure that was made for Disney Fandy. And
Sure,
for
we can
the
get Sorcerer Mickey, but not, I don't know, Cinderella or Aurora? Fucking hell, I would have loved an Aurora figure.
I mean, to be fair, Sorcerer Mickey literally embodied what they wanted for Disney Infinity. That was the entire theme of Disney Infinity, right there in one little mouse.
Yeah,
They,
but imagine an Aurora figure.
yeah, a spinning wheel would be like the final boss. But yeah, so Sorcerer Mickey had two figures. One that was only released during when they first announced Disney Infinity in D23. I believe that's what they call it. And that's it. They released a different one with a different sort of color scheme. Just the hat changed. But yeah, if you want that rare Mickey, you had to be there at D23.
Hmm.
I always liked Yen Sid though, especially in the Epic Mickey series, where he doesn't do much. He's really just the narrator, but he also is the one who basically made everything in that world. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. That sounds meh. interesting that they took that character and went other directions with it.
I mean, Epic Mickey also has like some like very old characters in it. Like, obviously, it has fucking Oswald, the first character Walt Disney ever made. Well, probably not the first, but like, actually, no, I think it is. Um, he's like the king of that world.
Interesting.
There's like
I don't know.
20 different iterations of Pete. There's a lot of Pete's, I guess.
20?
I'm making that number up, but I'm not. There's a lot of Pete's in Lost Through Time.
Oh, God.
Well, you already hate one Pete?
I feel like, Pete's a character that's good in small doses. Like, when you get that much Pete, it's too much.
I mean, they do balance it out. Also, the fact that the game doesn't revolve around Pete. It's just that there's a bunch of Pete's here. That's it. It's not like in every fucking Mickey Mouse thing. It's like, oh, Pete's the villain. Gotta beat Pete now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just another thing too. It's like you mentioned
Hmm.
Sorcerer Mickey made an appearance in Ralph Breaks the Internet, and
Yeah.
to that I'm like, who the fuck didn't? Like even Groot appears in Ralph Breaks the Internet, and I'm pretty sure so does C3PO or R2D2. I don't remember which. Some Star Wars stuff appears. I know that, and it's like, yeah, and like every trademarked Disney princess at the time was in the movie. Um, but I don't know. I guess I can be kind of glad that Disney never trademarked Princess Kita into the Disney Princesses label, because I don't know how I would have handled them ruining her character. I'm already mad about what they did to Rapunzel. And hell, I'm even mad about what they did to Cinderella, and I hated that movie.
Avery's just mad about things.
I'm mad about Ralph Breaks the Internet, okay? That movie angers me.
Okay, I'm sorry. What was the last time? So I'm on Sorcerer's Mickey Wikipedia page, okay?
Okay?
And it says Disney Sorcerer's Arena upcoming. That game came out in 2020.
Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of these wiki pages. They don't get updated that often. Like, you'll either find wiki pages that get updated constantly or ones that haven't been updated since 2004.
Also, I'm sorry. There is a Yen Sid was in The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse, and I just cannot get over this image that they provided with it as Yen Sid as a DJ.
Ugh, that is a weird image.
Oh, and also put
That's in
your
my
90s filter on because it's like 90s Yen Sid DJ.
ugh. Yep,
It
don't like that
it
mental image.
it's a whip. This image is just a fucking whiplash. Also, like he's making two finger guns as well in the image.
What, is he bisexual?
I mean, with how old he is, I think if he doesn't have anyone, he's just by himself at this point.
Ah, yes, he's not bisexual, he's by himself.
And I don't know anyone else in the Disney world that would be a good fit for him.
Okay, so I don't have much more to say on this movie. I didn't like it. It was boring to me, and my rating is going to reflect that. And I know it's a hot take, but I don't care.
Oh my god, Avery having hot. What the fuck was that sentence? Though, while I didn't like this movie, Rotten Tomatoes calmed down.
Yeah, I saw the Rotten Tomatoes review, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a little absurd.
Bro, you shouldn't even. Rotten Tomatoes wasn't even around when to watch any of it. Not even any of it live. Which I've always wondered, like, how it would look live. Like, you have, like, the band, but then you'd also have the projector, the screen.
Whatever.
I
So
think
you want to
that's.
get into the
Yeah, I
the
guess I
critic
should.
ratings?
IMDb. IMDb gives us a 7.7 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gives us a 95%, and 82% of Google users like this movie.
Now, Lily,
Yes?
don't be mad. I'm giving this a 3.0.
Damn. Wait, is that. Okay, Avery, do you know why I'm a little bit mad? It's not because of what you rate Fantasia. Is I'm pretty sure that you rated it higher than The Giver. No, sorry, lower than The Giver.
Yeah, I would rather watch The Giver again.
I would not. I would rather every copy of that movie burn. But that's besides the point.
Like, legitimately, the only thing I enjoyed in this was the Sorcerer Mickey short, but this is a rating of the whole movie and not that one thing.
I already said to Avery, like, if I lived back in that time, which, to be fair, there is no part of me that wants to live in the 1940s, but if I was forced to, I would want to go see this movie live.
Hell, I
So,
barely want to live in the 2020s.
so I guess, but I mean, it's okay. So I'm just gonna give it like a 7.5.
Okay, well, I think this is probably the biggest disparity we've ever had on anything ever. Um,
Damn, this is even more than Infinity Train Season 3.
yeah, I definitely think it's a bigger difference than what we had for that.
Though, then
Um,
again, I did, like, rate Infinity Train Season 3 pretty high.
I'm pretty sure I rated Infinity Train season 3 somewhere in the fives.
I think 5s or 6s.
Yeah, it was low for me, but not super low like what I'm rating this. I try to
Though,
reserve I try to reserve numbers under 3 for things I find that are genuinely problematic or make me unreasonably angry. So, you can expect Ralph Breaks the Internet to get below a 3 when we eventually get to it.
I mean, hey, you might have wanted to fall asleep during this movie, but at least you'd rather watch this than fucking Ralph Breaks the Internet.
I don't know if I'd rather watch this than Ralph Breaks the Internet. I'd rate Ralph Breaks the Internet lower, but the only positive I can say about Ralph Breaks the Internet is that it isn't boring.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the movie was basically just invented, so put in front of a kid to have them shut up.
Yeah, it's like uh. But anyway, y'all can join us later this week for the Dragon Prince Book 2, which I am so looking forward to. Um, you can join us next week for Blade Runner 2049, which I'm not really looking forward to, and uh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6. I have no idea if that's going to be good or not, so we will see. But until then, I've been Avery, that's been Lily, and we will be seeing you.